Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Firexfred. Today we're going to be doing a little bit more of an analysis of a ZvZ match here on Xel'naga Caverns. First I'm going to introduce the players and then we're going to go right into the replay. I really want to analyze everything from the very get-go, so I'm not going to start the replay just yet. Talk a little bit about these players just very briefly. Bly, aka Empire Bly, is of course on the team Empire with notable players such as Empire Kaz. A European team, I believe a Ukrainian player. And up here in the top right, we have Stephano as our Frenchman, our Zerg pink Frenchman, playing for the team Millennium, along with my other favorite Frenchman, Adele Scott. That guy is so awesome. And so let's actually just get right into the replay. Go ahead and start this guy up. First things that we notice, a little bit of a different split. Not going to be a huge deal actually. I'm pretty sure people have done tests on the different splits and they pretty much end up being almost exactly the same. Already Stephano is somehow a tiny bit ahead as far as the drones go. Just a tiny bit ahead, but you know, they're actually catching up, it looks like, weirdly enough. So they're going to be pretty darn even going into this, but we do see that Bly opting to get the 10 Overlord, while in the meantime Stephano did get that 9 Overlord. So we're going to see a little bit of a difference just right from the beginning. Usually when you do see this 10 Overlord, you also see the extractor trick. So let's be watching, see if he is going to do that, as that is generally accepted as the best way to get that done. Let's take a look at the income tab. And keep in mind while playing ZvZ that these Overlords for the first couple, almost 10-12 minutes of the game, you can basically send your Overlords out wherever you want. They are not going to be shot down by Queens very easily, as Queens are so slow, and you can usually react in time or go and pick off their Queen with your Zerglings. So we do see a spawning pool coming down for Stephano. In the meanwhile, we do see the extractor actually going down before the spawning pool for Bly. So this signifies that he's going to want to get a very quick speed out for his Zerglings. He might put a little bit of pressure on with that. We're not entirely sure yet. So you see just about half an extractor build time ahead of Stephano at this point. And both players, of course, scouting around, being annoying with that drone in their opponent's base. We see Stephano just now getting his gas, and Bly actually blocking it off. So taking a look at the harvester count, Bly is actually behind right now, and he's doing this. That's just a waste of, basically just a waste of minerals at that point. The spawning pool is finished, and that queen immediately comes out. So the queen immediately comes out, and he's not using this larva right here. He is building an Overlord though. That is very nice to see, as you want to get those Overlords out in time. Stephano was actually a little tiny bit supply blocked, and in the beginning of ZvZ that is actually so huge to get supply blocked. You really have to be perfectly on top of getting those Overlords. And we do see these drones being pulled off of gas right when they get 100 gas, and that metabolic boost going down immediately. And Stephano has over 100 gas at this point, still not opting to get that metabolic boost. He has the minerals for it right now. Let's see if he gets it. But he did throw down a roach horn, so he might want to be saving that gas for some earlier roaches, as we do see 6 Zerglings being popped out for Bly, and Stephano does scout out this hatchery that is going down. So a very standard speedling expand going down for Bly, and meanwhile a little bit of a quicker roach build coming down for Stephano. One thing that I would like to see is actually this Overlord being moved right here. The reason for that is that you can poke in from time to time, check and see if he is mining from his gas. Check and see the saturation. You can see the saturation very easily at both bases, and that scouting information of your opponent's saturation at his bases is actually so huge. Speed finishing, and Stephano does come in, pick off a couple of Zerglings, and he's going to be able to get just a few drones, I should say. But these 2 queens are going to be able to fend it off very easily. Stephano's already started his creep spread, so he's going to be able to connect his 2 bases when he does decide to expand. He really needs to expand very soon, or he's just going to be so far behind. I'd like to see this Overlord maybe coming over around back here. And like I said, this Overlord coming in right here to go ahead and check on that sort of saturation. Now Stephano is pumping out units before he's really, I mean, he is saturated pretty well at his main. You need to be spawning your larva, spawn your larva, spawn your larva, come on, spawn your larva, spawn your larva. I don't actually know what you could be doing at this point that is more important than spawning your larva. That's actually so huge at this point in the game, and he is going to push out a little bit. These Zerglings are not going to be able to do anything as Stephano's force is much bigger, but let's take a look at the drone count. They're exactly even, and Bly is going to be able to pump out a couple of units right before the units of Stephano get to his base. They're going to be able to do a little bit of damage, but not a huge deal. And so while this is going on, it's important to keep up on your spitting creep, like Stephano is not doing right here. And he did get supply blocked as that Overlord that was right here was picked off by this Queen. Those roaches being chased away at this moment. So like I said, if that Overlord had been over here, that would have been a much better place. He would notice right now, he could peek in and see that there are actually no drones at this expansion. Not a single one. And that's huge. If your opponent doesn't have any drones, then that means that you also can't be building drones, basically. You can build a couple, but then you have to start really pumping out units, as we see a pretty scary attack coming in from Bly at this moment. And Stephano was droning up just a little bit more, and he got that expansion actually so much later. These roaches and Spinecrawler are probably going to be able to fend off this attack for just a little bit, but Bly is going to keep pushing in. And right now would be a perfect time to just poke in with an Overlord, check out the saturation at both of your opponent's bases, and see exactly what is going on. So at this point, Stephano knows what's happening. He does see a ton of units, so he's just going to be pumping out units for the time being. And meanwhile, Bly using this pressure not entirely to his advantage. He could have pressured with that and just made a ton of drones, and now we do see 9 drones coming down from him. So that was a pretty good use of that little bit of pressure, forcing Stephano into some units that he hadn't had already, and getting up some drones at the same time. Spit on your, there you go. Spit. That is so important. To keep track of your spitting is so huge, actually. I think it's bigger than most people realize. Also, in ZvZ, or as Zerg, it is so important to keep up on those Overlords because you produce in generally in big quantities. And these Zerglings coming forward and picking off that creep tumor. I don't actually like spreading creep in ZvZ because it's gonna help. I mean, it's gonna help them just as much as it helps you, other than the vision, but you do have your Overlord spread out very well. He sees that there are only roaches and Zerglings, so he could be spreading his Overlords so much better. There's no reason for this Overlord to be here at all whatsoever. He could have some here, he could have some here, he could have some at the third, he could have some at his opponent's third. I think that's actually a huge mistake to be doing that, to not be doing that, rather. He does have a couple of two gas going down, and the layer is about done. And these +1 melee attacks going down. +1 melee attack is so important when you're doing big roach battles, because you have the same units as your opponent, and you basically want to get ahead of him, either by getting those upgrades, or if he's getting them, you also want to have them. So pretty much you're always going to have to get your upgrades. And meanwhile, Stephano actually taking this little lull to drone up so hard, and right now at this point he absolutely needs to be building a ton of units. Take a look at the production tab. He is building units, but he's actually building more drones, and I think that's a big mistake. These Zerglings are going to come in and see. So this is sort of a bittersweet moment right here in the game. These Zerglings are going to come in and see no drones at the expansion, and first, I guarantee you this is what he's going to think first of all. He's going to be like, oh, I'm ahead. I have like way more drones. And then he's going to realize, oh no, I have way more drones. I desperately need to get units out right now. And then this fear comes into your mind, as every ZvZ player knows. Just the fear that, you know, your opponent will have a single more roach than you and win the battle. And it is the most terrifying experience, I guarantee you. But he did use those links to great advantage, and this army is actually huge. 2750 compared to 1500. I don't know that Stephano is going to be able to actually hold this off, but he did start building a ton of units, and they are going to be popping out. 8 roaches being popped out right now, getting some good positioning so that the Zerglings could not get a good surround. And it looks like these roaches are going to pop out just in time to get a good surround on Bly's roaches. So at this point, Bly has gone so all in by not building any drones here, and actually he builds 8 drones right now. And that's actually the worst thing that you could do. At this point, you're so far behind, you actually just have to keep building units and hope that your partner, or that your opponent, for some reason, messes up completely, because at this point you're so far behind. You just can't possibly go from, you know, a super all-in attack to back to building up drones. It's just not going to work. At this point, Stephano could put down a ton of spine crawlers, even expand if he wanted to, and he's just going to push forward and probably crush Bly right now. So we see the importance of scouting your opponent. Stephano actually was playing so unsafely. Had Bly pushed about a minute before he did, he had a huge army, and he could have absolutely crushed Stephano, because Stephano had been very greedy. Honestly, this game Stephano won out slightly out of luck. He wasn't scouting as much as he needed to be scouting. And scouting is so important. I cannot emphasize how important scouting is. And we even see that, you know, even this is from a recent TLOpen, by the way. Stephano is currently one of the qualifiers for the TSL, so he is a top level player, and we're seeing him miss, you know, some overlords, miss some some spitting of the larva. And those little things, actually in a mirror matchup, and especially ZvZ, where things are so close, they add up a ton. So if you're having trouble with ZvZ, I hope this has helped just a little bit. Basically, you need to scout your opponent. That is the most important thing that you could possibly do. And hopefully that this was helpful to some of you guys. A little bit less of a commentary and more of a what do you call it? An analysis of the game. So thank you so much for watching. Big shout out to Plexa over at TeamLiquid.net for posting these replays for everyone to see and everyone to love and do analyses of. That's actually the plural. And thank you all so much for watching.